Why do you think it is important to think differently when we are working in fragile settings?
Yes, well, I think fragile settings are different. What we've seen with MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals, was remarkable progress on maternal deaths, on child deaths, on immunisation rates, but in the non-fragile settings around the world. So we've seen a halving of those death rates everywhere else, but in the fragile settings, what we've seen is no change, or in fact, sometimes death rates getting worse. So clearly, what we do in the rest of the world has been working. Of course, we can improve it, and there's still more to be done. But using that same model in a fragile setting clearly hasn't worked, because we've all tried it. We've tried the emergency acute model, we've tried development work, but what we've seen is no real change in those really serious health needs. So the time has come to think differently, to think, how do we take perhaps elements of an emergency approach and elements of a development approach? How do we blend them together? How do we get the continuity of support, long-term support that's needed, while still addressing acute needs as they arise? So we do need to think differently. It may not be totally differently. It may be a combination of approaches that's needed. But we certainly need to focus on these areas. These areas are where 60% of preventable maternal deaths, 50% of the preventable childhood deaths, 60% of the unimmunised children, I could go on, but where a significant number of these preventable deaths are occurring and where the high health needs are. So we need to focus on them, we need to do things a little differently, and we need to make sure that the money, the attention, the support is very much there, that it's long-term support, that it's very community-led, community-owned and community-driven. And hopefully that way we can address some of these appalling health stats and really try and make a difference when it comes to health and well-being of people living in these situations.